All right, good morning. I'm going to cover kind of the basics of annotation today, and we're also going to talk about the pre-assessments that you guys wrote before today's class. Um, in general, I was really impressed with where we're starting with annotation and with writing précis, paragraphs, and yeah, today's about tightening those up, revising those, and I'm going to also introduce some new concepts in annotation for you guys. So the first thing that I need you guys to do is please go to your assignment. Go to the research and annotation pre-assessment on classwork, and you're going to click into that specific assignment right here. And go ahead and where you normally see the turn in button on your assignment, I'm going to have you unsubmit that so that you have edit access again. So you're just going to go into that for you and hit unsubmit. That should give you edit access again to that document. All right, here's some good questions that I received while you guys were working on this. These are questions I received in my live office hours, which remember I have every day from 2:40 to 3:15. I also received some of these questions on Wednesdays class periods, and then I also got some of these questions over Remind and over Classroom and over email. The first one is, isn't the works cited entry right at the top of the article? Hopefully you caught that. Some of you guys caught that and I was actually really impressed. Nice. Yeah, I asked you to include a works cited entry for the article. And for this one, it's really convenient because your works cited entry just pops up right at the top. Everything before this additional information, that's the works cited entry. For today, I want you guys to be working on or working off of a new copy of the article. So the PDF is here, but if you scroll up to the in-class topic, you can click on National Anthem Protest Overview and get to the actual our article in a Google Doc. So yes, the works cited entry is right up here. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what a works cited entry is, it's the information that you need in order to cite the text properly. It shows you info about the author, the title, the publication, the date, and the source material. So that's kind of what you will need if you didn't include a works cited page. Ignore this additional information here. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the article, you'll notice the bibliography. Question for you, think about this. How is a works cited entry different than a bibliography? In short, bibliography is where they got their sources, and the works cited entry is citing this specific article. So this is where our author, I think his name is it? Yeah. This is where he got his sources when he was researching this article. Okay. While we're here at this Google Doc, I want you to hit Control A, so Control All, and then you're going to copy and paste this whole article into your assessment. So the document go back to the document you just unsubmitted, and I'm going to have you copy and paste this whole article into your assessment. And I'll kind of share more about why in just a minute. Okay. Another good question I had was on MLA format. The assessment asked you to use MLA format, and some of you are unfamiliar with that or still learning it, or you're having trouble remembering that. Let me show you some really good resources. The first one I'm going to show you is a website, and if you just Google OWL Purdue for Purdue University, and then hit MLA, Modern Language Association, and then go to sample paper. This site will walk you through MLA format. The most helpful resource I have found on this site is this MLA sample paper. It has annotations on each side on how everything is set up. And what you can just do is compare your document that you're submitting to the sample doc and compare and contrast. Okay. The next question I got was really good. Isn't this a neutral text? Yes, this is a neutral text. So a student was wondering, how do I write a précis, right? Because one of the things you guys did is you wrote a 4-sentence summary in a specific format. This student was wondering, how am I going to write a précis on a text that's actually neutral, right? There's not really an opinion to it. Our author doesn't take a side on whether the national anthem protests should happen or whether they are a negative thing, right? No side, pro or con. So this student was wondering about this very first sentence. Our author, Micah Izzet, in his article, National Anthem Protest Overview, argues that, here's the phrase that I want you to notice, or some other appropriate verb. You probably wouldn't want to use argues for that first sentence because it's more of an objective text, right? It really doesn't argue much. We're not going to work too much with the précis today, but I just thought that was a good catch that student pointed out. Okay, the next one. Do I have to use a table? No. In this assignment, one of the options for your annotations was to use a table. I think some of you were choosing to actually print and annotate the article. But no, you do not have to use a table. In fact, that's why I asked you guys to copy and paste the text of the article into your assessment, because as we make revisions, I'm actually going to have you guys change your annotations into a different format. And the format that I want us to try now, as we're revising these assignments, is I want you to try on the left and on the right, annotating the article via a comment, just like you would if you were writing a little notation for yourself on paper. But instead, since it's digital, try a comment. Please do not use the @ feature. Whoops. Please don't use the @ feature and tag me, because then I'll get an email every single time you comment on your document. But you can make your notation here. And so that would mean that, and you'll get to a video on this later, that would mean that your summary annotations end up on the right via a comment, and your purpose annotations end up on the left, also another comment. All right. The next question I think I got this a couple times. What do you mean by chunking the article? We will get into a video today, the second video, that will cover that topic. But in short, you're going to ask yourself which of these paragraphs need to be together. So obviously this first one is its own chunk, right? There's a chunk for key definitions. Some of that's kind of already done for you. You know that this is a big chunk, right? It all discusses history. So maybe you decide that this paragraph and then this second paragraph here are in one chunk based on their topic. Basically, you're going to look for patterns and which paragraphs belong together, ending with a conclusion. Okay, and I have a little bit more about that coming later. And then the last question I got, or one of the last ones, and that was a good question, was the EBSCO and Points of View password wasn't working. What should I do? Okay, if you were working on this assignment early, you noticed that the password in the video I gave you were not working. So I just took that off until I waited for the correct password from our library. So this week, after you revise your annotations based on what you're going to learn today, you're going to do 2 more practiced annotations, 1 and 2, and I don't care, you can do either one in either or any order you want. Research practice 1 is you're going to find a pro article on the topic, and research practice 2 is you're going to find a con article on the topic. So we're reading left, right, and center, an objective text, a point of view on one side of the issue and a point of view on the opposite side of the issue, right? So to do that, here's how that's going to work. If you're off campus, which I'm off campus right now, you're going to go to the Foothill Cougars website, go to Parents and Students, scroll down to Library, go to Research Center. It will have you log in. Don't select this sign in with Google. It's not going to work for you. And then you'll need the user ID and password, which is Cougar Research, no caps. Password is Foothill 2020, exclamation point, no caps. This is going to get us to the databases that our school is paying for us to use. So for the practice this week, you'll need to use this. You're going to click on the first one, points of view. And then we're going to type in National Anthem National Anthem protest. If you were to type this into Google, actually, if you want to try, feel free. If you were to type that into Google, you would get a ton of different information popping up. But a lot of it would be difficult to sift through because it's either on one side of the issue or the other. So points of view is incredibly helpful because you get that objective article by somebody, someone wrote it who knows their research, who's done their background research, and who doesn't have a sway either way, right? So here it is, point. So that's on one side. Overview, that's your center. And counterpoint. Guide to critical analysis you can ignore. But this is kind of your left, right, and center right here. So you'll need to access that at home for this week. Okay. And then the last thing that I wanted to cover real quick for you guys as you're completing or revising your annotations is, again, you're going to use the commenting feature. As you're watching the next video, which is the basics of annotation, so you're going to click into the in-class topic and go to the summary and purpose annotations. As you're watching that, please start making revisions to your specific assessment. So as you're watching that, think about what you need to change in your annotations to meet the expectations that I'm giving you today, and to respond to the learning that you're going to have based on that slideshow. I apologize for the background noise. My dog is snoring. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to cover real quick before you dive into that video, along with making annotations on your comments via the commenting feature, is for this week, you're going to be, after you watch the video, please go ahead and take the annotation reflection to kind of share about what you might want to revise, what things you learned in the activity, etc. So you're going to take that next, and then go back and start revising your annotations based on what you learned. And then for this week, I tried to keep it pretty simple. We have 2 more practices like I just covered. And then also you have a short little outline to take on pages 12 to 16 in the textbook. And it's about consensus and discussion. So some really cool phrases we can be working on for one of our discussions coming up. All right, go ahead and hop into that next video. Make sure you keep your annotation document pulled up so you can make those changes as you watch. And all right, thank you so much, guys.